Hello everyone, welcome to Go Man Go. I'm your host Chris, and today I'm going to tell you about two ski resorts in Colorado that can't be more different than the other. I'm going to tell you about Vail, and I'm going to tell you about Powderhorn. Now, just a couple of weeks ago, my son, one of his friends, and I had the privilege to fly out to Colorado and to go to both of those ski resorts back to back. What a great experience it was to be able to go out there and to ski in some great snow on two great mountains. Now, most of you have probably heard of Vail, probably familiar with that. Maybe you've been there, maybe you're thinking about going there, planning a trip to Vail. Now, Powderhorn, that's a smaller area, smaller ski resort. Maybe you haven't heard about that place before. Kind of a little kept secret there on the western slope of Colorado. Well, today I'm going to tell you about both of those resorts, kind of compare and contrast a little bit. And as I talk about these places, I am going to focus mostly on the mountains themselves, because when we went out there, we had the privilege to stay with some friends. We didn't have to book any lodging, which saved us a ton of money because, as you know, Vail is quite expensive. And lodging anywhere in Colorado can be expensive. I'd like to say thank you to Josh and Christina and to Jeremy and Kim. Thank you so much for housing us and taking care of us. So we were able just to focus on our travel and on skiing and on food and such. So it was a great trip. So let's start with Vail, because that's what probably most of you that have clicked on this video want to know about. Let's start with some of the statistics or some of the important parts of the mountains. So Vail, how many trails does Vail have? Well, this one kind of fluctuates depending on where you get your information. So I went right to the source. I went right to Vail's website. They say they have 278 trails. Some other websites say 195. So somewhere between 195 and 278. Either way, that's a lot of trails. That's 18% are beginners, 29% intermediate, and 53% are advanced. They have over 5,000 skiable acres, 3,450 feet of vertical drop, 32 lifts. 32 lifts to get you around that massive mountain. And the snowfall, average about 350 inches of snow a year. So that is a massive, massive mountain. Big footprint there to ski on. Lots of terrain, lots of variety to ski on for sure. It is a humongous mountain. Now, how much does it cost to ski on that huge mountain? Well, it ain't cheap. So the ticket prices are about $300 a day for a lift ticket at Vail. Wow, that is quite expensive for sure. So if you're going to go for like 3 days, that's like $900 give or take, and that could be quite expensive. But they do have a way for you to save a little bit of money. They have what's called the Epic Pass, and it's about $980 to $1,000. And that pass is actually, obviously going to save you if you're going to ski for more than 4 or 5 days. And that Epic Pass includes like 49 other resorts besides Vail. Vail Industries or Vail Corporation, whatever they go by, own a ton of resorts all over the United States, in Canada, even in Australia, and some over in Europe. So you can use that pass in other places. So if you live out in the Midwest or in New England or other parts of the United States, you may live near a resort, you can use that pass and it'll be your season pass. So you can take advantage of that at other locations as well for that year. So that could be something that could benefit you. It seems like Vail kind of pushes you to want to get that Epic Pass. That's why it's pretty expensive to ski at Vail. Plus, Vail is a very popular place for people to go to. When I got to Vail, it was very overwhelming at first. So I was glad to have one of our friends to take us around to show us what to do. One of the things a lot of people want to do when they get to Vail is they want to head to the gondola and get on that and take it right up to the mountain. That's where everybody goes. I encourage you, skip that unless that's really something you have to do. Go to the chairlifts. The chairlifts will eventually get you to the top. So we did, and we eventually made our way to the top. It's a huge mountain. So you're gonna need to look at the trail map, kind of scout your way around on where you want to ski and where you want to go to. And there's a lot of variety of terrain there to ski on. The slopes are wide open for the most part. I mean, you can ski in the trees, you can ski in the bumps if you want. That was one thing, when we went, all three of us are different levels of skiing. So we were able to ski together the whole time. Even when our friend took us, we were all four together and we were able to ski a variety of terrain just even though we were all together. I could not get over the beauty of Vail. The mountain itself was very beautiful. All that snow, the tall pines, it was just amazing to ski by. You get caught in the beauty. It snowed even the 2 days we were there. So it was, we didn't get the greatest visibility beyond the mountain, but just the beauty of the snow and the snowfall was incredible. Also with the terrain, there are the back bowls. Now you have to try to ski somewhere in the back bowls. Now I thought, hey, you had to be an advanced skier to ski in the back bowls. You do need to be at least an intermediate. I can't remember if there's some beginner. I have to look at the trail map. Maybe there are some beginner trails in the back bowls, but what we skied was at least an intermediate level to get the back bowls. But that is cool that you can ski in the back bowls and not have to be an expert level or an advanced level to do that. That reminded me of skiing in Europe on the glaciers. It was wide open, lots of space, and it was just reminded me of skiing in Austria or Switzerland on the glaciers there. Great experience. Now, a lot of times people get concerned about a lot of people. Vail does have a lot of people. We were there on a Sunday and a Monday, and on Sunday there was more people than Monday, obviously, and there were a lot of people. But we did not have to wait in lift lines too long. Maybe we waited 2 minutes for the most in a lift line, maybe a little bit longer. There were a lot of people on some of the runs, so we did have to kind of navigate a little bit, but I never felt like it was overcrowded and that I was constantly trying to weave and turn and get around people or had to wait in long lift lines, at least on the day we were there. Now, I will say that on the Saturday that we flew into Denver and drove up the interstate to get to Vail, but there was a very, very long line of cars heading to Denver from people who probably stayed during the week, some people who drove up just for Saturday to ski at Vail and Copper and Breckenridge and all the places between Denver and Vail. There was a humongous line of cars. And it was going about, that line of traffic was going about 20 miles an hour, maybe 25. And it's probably going to take them 4 or 5 hours to get from Vail back to Denver. Vail does have an airport close by. In Eagle, Colorado, what is that, about 40 minutes from Vail? There is an airport you can fly into. I have no idea how much extra it costs to fly in there. I'm sure it's not cheap, but you can fly into Eagle. We enjoyed the drive from Denver up to Vail. It was about 2 hours, 2.5, and we did hit snow on the way in. It was not a problem driving in at all, and we got to Vail in a good amount of time. We did rent. We didn't take our own ski gear besides our helmets and obviously our ski jackets and ski pants and such. We rented boots, poles, and skis, and I found the prices very reasonable. Very easy to rent from Vail. You can go to the Vail website and you can get your ski or snowboard rentals from there. And I encourage you to do that because you are going to save yourself some time and save yourself a hassle trying to rent from on the mountain. And they have several locations of where to rent from, and you can pick and choose what location you want to get it from. We rented from, what was it called? Golden Peak or something like that. I'll put the name below. I may not totally have it right. That's an area I encourage you to maybe rent from depending on where you're staying. It's not near the gondola, it's further away from all that. And it was easy for us to get our stuff there. And if you order online, you usually save like 20%. Plus we got it, each of us got an additional $10 off of our rental. We rented for 2 days and it was about $80 to $90 depending on what level of ski you want. And I will say that their ski options were tremendous. I had Nordica skis and Nordica boots, and they were great. And my son had Rossignol skis and Rossignol boots. He loved them as well. So we had great equipment. It was top of the line. One last thing about Vail is a lot of people like the après-ski. They like the town of Vail itself. It is a very pretty town. It reminds me a lot of Europe. If you've ever seen pictures or if you've ever been to Austria or Switzerland or southern Germany, it reminds you of that. You can tell there's obviously an influence like that. Some people call it the Disney of the ski areas because of the way it's set up, and maybe it does have that kind of feel. It's very pretty. We walked around town, we went to some of the stores, bought some overpriced t-shirts and such, but we loved it, enjoyed it while we were down in the town there. It's pretty to walk through, and maybe you're going to stay down there. Maybe you're going to stay in Vail itself. You will pay a high price for that. There are other options. You can stay outside of Vail, or you could stay a little further out, like in Edwards or in Eagle, and drive in or take a shuttle in. It's entirely up to you on what you want to do for the lodging.
You okay?
I went down, yeah.
Wow.
All right, enough about Vail. Let's talk about Powderhorn. Well, so maybe you don't like the bigger type of ski resorts, and you don't want all those people, and you don't need all that fluffy après-ski stuff, and you want just to go somewhere where you can ski. You just want some good skiing, you want some good snow, and you like kind of the more mom and pop type operation or local ski kind of scene. Well, that's what Powderhorn is. So where is Powderhorn? Well, Powderhorn is on the Grand Mesa. What is the Grand Mesa, maybe you're asking? Well, the Grand Mesa is a mountain on the western side of Colorado, close to Grand Junction, kind of between Grand Junction and Delta, Colorado, not far from Montrose, Colorado. And it is the largest tabletop mountain in the world. And a tabletop mountain means it's a flat top mountain. And that mountain is a national forest, part of the national park system. And you can go up there, and there's tons of lakes. I forget how many lakes are up there. And a lot of people do cross-country skiing, snowmobiling, and such in the winter up there. Of course, there's fishing and boating and hiking in the summer and springtime. It's a beautiful mountain, such a different type of mountain versus most of the rest of Colorado. And it's just a great place to go any time of the year. Well, on the north side of that mountain, there is a ski resort called Powderhorn, and it is like a locals type of ski resort. It is pretty much people from Grand Junction area, or on the other side, the south side of the mountain. People come in from Cedar Edge and Delta and such to ski there as well. Well, let me tell you a little bit about it. Let's go over some of the statistics of Powderhorn. Well, they have 50 to 53 trails, something like that. So it's a lot smaller than most of your Colorado ski areas. 20% beginner, 50% intermediate, 30% advanced. Kind of really evens out the abilities there. They have 1,600 skiable acres, 1,600 foot vertical drop, only 5 lifts. All right, and only one of those lifts is like a detachable quad that gets you fast up to the top. What was it called? West side or west end lift is the other chairlift that goes from bottom to top. Is the 50-year-old slower moving double chairlift that reminds you of chairlifts from back in the day if you've been skiing like 20, 30, 40, 50 years, but it's still reliable, still gets you up to the top. Then they have another chairlift that kind of goes up in the beginner area. And then I guess they got a magic carpet or two. So not as many chairlifts to get you up. But we did not wait in line but more than 30 seconds, and we were there on a Wednesday and Thursday. It's about 250 inches of snow a year, and that's mainly because the Grand Mesa is more in the high desert. You know, when you're up there skiing, you're overlooking the desert. You're looking out towards Grand Junction, which is out looking out towards Utah. So it's actually a view of the desert, which is beautiful in itself. Such a different type of skiing. Even though it's, you know, a little bit lower elevation of a mountain, it gets a little bit less snow. Everything was covered in snow. There was a ton of snow, and it was a very beautiful sunny time when we were there both days. A little windy one day, but everything was snow covered. We didn't have any kind of issue with snow coverage at all. The trails at Powderhorn were open and wide for the most part, just like at Vail. I mean, there were trails that were narrow. You know, most of the what they call them, catwalk type trails, are narrow, kind of winding it their way down the mountain or connecting one trail to another. But for the most part, all the trails were wide and lots of space for everybody, just like at any Colorado type mountain or a mountain out west. Less people at Powderhorn. Didn't have to worry about people hardly at all. Less people in the lift line, less people on the mountain as well. Some of you will probably like that. There's also trails for everyone there at Powderhorn. Doesn't matter what your ability is. There was quite a variety of type of trails. Powderhorn is known for powder and for skiing in the trees. Now the snow is a little bit lighter because it's coming from off of the desert, so it's a little bit lighter of snow. It doesn't have as much moisture in the snow, so it may be comparable to what you get in Utah. But also, there's a lot of opportunities to ski in the trees if you like that. Now there's plenty of opportunity to ski in the bumps, ski on steeps, or if you are a beginner or intermediate skier, plenty of opportunity to ski on the flatter runs. But lots of opportunity there. Both places, by the way, Vail and Powderhorn have terrain parks. If that's your thing, you can do that as well. Now, what about rentals at Powderhorn? Even though it's a local resort, what kind of rental packages can you get there? Now, I was impressed by the rentals that they had. I was kind of concerned. It was like, are we going to get, rentals from 5-6 years ago that they're still using, like you get a lot of times in places in the Midwest? Nope, their rentals were top of the line. I had Rosinol skis and I had Rosinol boots. I thought both of them were great. I didn't have a problem with any of them. I really liked the Rosinol skis. In fact, it worked out really well. The rentals were great. All three of us enjoyed the rentals that we had. And you can go to their website. I'll put a link below to their website, and you can go ahead and rent your skis online. Now, I will admit, we had a problem with the renting online. I could not get all the way through the checkout, and it just kept messing up on me. I'm not sure if it was my problem or whatnot. They had plenty of skis, plenty of boots. We walked right on in. We just did our rentals all over again on the computer right as we walked in, and we got what we wanted and right out the door. They were friendly, they were helpful. About the same price as Vail, about $80 is kind of the average depending on your ability that you want or the type of ski that you want. But what about the après-ski at Powderhorn? Well, it's pretty much non-existent. All right, Powderhorn is right there next to the National Forest, the National Park system. If you love to be in a place that doesn't have much après-ski, it's out in nature, you got the National Park right there, this is your place. There is lodging there, not run by the resort whatsoever. There were a couple of townhouse type places, some tiny homes, and then several Airbnb type cabins and chalets that you can rent. But you're not going to get any kind of village, any kind of restaurants or anything like that. You're going to have to bring your food with you and cook it there in your chalet or cabin that you get your Airbnb. So there's nothing right there. Probably the closest restaurant is in a little town called Mesa, about 20 minutes away. That's a really small little town. If you want to be in a place where you got lots of options, grocery store, gas station, restaurants, that kind of thing, Palisades is probably the closest. I think that's maybe a 40-minute drive. That's right outside Grand Junction, nice little town. Or you can stay in Grand Junction if you like. That's probably another 10 or 15 minutes away. On the other side of the Mesa, on the south side, there's Cedar Edge, which is a nice little town as well. That has restaurants, kind of a local town that has restaurants and it has lodging. Or you can go just a little bit further, another 15 minutes into Delta, where you have pretty much everything that you need. Now, I do want to say that when we left Powderhorn, because that was the last place that we skied at, we did not drive back to Denver, which would have been a 4.5-hour drive. We decided to fly out of the town of Montrose. We could have flown out of Grand Junction. So if you go to Powderhorn, you can fly out of Grand Junction or you can fly out of Montrose. Since we were staying in Delta, we just drove down to Montrose, about 20-25 minutes from Delta, and flew from Montrose to Denver and then back home. So where do you go? Where do you want to go ski in Colorado? Do you want the big mountain experience with all the opportunities it has, with all of the après-ski it has, but you're going to pay for it if you go? Or do you just want a place to ski? You want that local feel. It doesn't matter where you're staying, you just want to go someplace in Colorado to ski. You can pick and choose. There's two mountains right there that are so opposite from each other, but provide a very similar opportunity for you to ski. Well, have a great day. Get out there, get on those skis, get on that board, and enjoy your time. No matter where you're at, find a place to ski.
Yeah.